Okay, picking up where we left off on page 465, we're talking about the technology choices, and most likely this is done in step 4 in that little process where you're picking the place where you're picking your authoring tools. You really ought to be picking your technology tools. So if you're more comfortable with Visual Studio and Microsoft SQL Server and Microsoft Internet Information Services, then go with this. If you're more interested in this is, I'll admit, a little cheaper, because everything is free. There's nothing in the LAMP stack that costs you money. It's all free. So you pick what it is you want, and you get to pick how much power is available. You know, how much resources do I? How much memory do I have? All that kind of stuff. How much disk space? So memory allocation and unlimited disk space and all the rest of this stuff. You know, what it's running on, whether or not I want ASP.NET. What version, all the rest of these things. So this is kind of sort of up to you on picking the technologies. Okay. Now I want to tell you an interesting story. Let's say you just went to the web and you wanted to analyze the choices for web hosting. So you just go to Google and you type in, you know, web hosting options. Okay? And so you get a bunch of these things. Well, I will tell you that oddly enough, practically all of these web hosting options here, okay, not necessarily all of them, but practically all of these are fake. I know. It sounds crazy. So here's one. Web hosting 2017. It says, we've bought and signed up for each one of these things to let you know. So here's 30 different ones. And so, you know, here's the criteria: uptime, reliability, blah, blah, blah. And so they talk about HostGator and then, you know, all these other ones. Okay, and you're thinking, wow, this is pretty cool. It's a pretty good, talks about load time and uptime. This is a fairly decent review, and it has all this stuff about a full page review. And then when you get all the way down to the bottom, after all that, you read this. Hostingfacts.com is affiliated with web hosts listed on this site. What? You mean this is paid advertisement? And it's not really an actual review of websites? Oh, man. So let me just tell you. There's an awful lot of fake review sites. An awful lot. I mean, seriously, I would guess... okay, I'm making this up because I don't have any data. I would guess about half. How about this? If it's coming from a place you've never heard of, like free servers and hosting advice, okay? Here's hosting facts. If it's coming from one of those, it's most likely fake. Now, if it was coming from PC Mag, now I'd go to that one. There's maybe some others, but you know, web hosting best, no. So an awful lot of these are fake. You know, here's one from 1&1 and Rackspace and all the rest of the things. The bottom line is, if you're ever in a position to go hunt for a company to do web hosting, just be aware that an awful lot of the reviews are not reviews, they're advertisements. Okay. So there's a checklist of things you ought to be thinking about when you decide you want to go through and do one of these things. And that is, you know, what operating system is it going to run? Does that matter to you? And so the web hosting software, I use the Microsoft stuff. So I want a Windows server and I want Internet Information Server version 8. How much bandwidth do they allow? Are they going to throttle me? Do they provide any type of technical support? Now, technical support is going to be on hardware and connection issues, not, hey, I can't get this CSS to work. No. That's not the technical support we're talking about. A service level agreement. Do you pay based upon their ability to perform? If I have an SLA, a service level agreement, that says I'm going to get 99.999% uptime, that means I'm going to get money back if they don't meet their obligation. How much disk space can I have? How many email boxes am I going to get? Do I allow uploading? Do they have any canned scripts? And these companies are great. They have tons and tons of this little helpers and all these little designers for you. Scripting, database, an e-commerce package. In other words, I don't have to build a shopping cart. They got all that for me. I just pick one off the list. So I'd like that shopping cart, please. Doesn't cost me anything more. Presto chango, I now have that shopping cart on my website. How easy are going to be scale up, how backup, site statistics, like gathering some information for me. Are they going to include the domain name in registration? Almost all of them do. And then, of course, how much does it cost? So, that's essentially all there is in this chapter, believe it or not. It's all about putting together an honest to God web page and putting it out there in the world. All right. So that's it for this time, and we'll see you again in some future chapter.